Guys, let's look at another example. As you might have noticed that I have changed the history a little bit. In the medical history, it's given patient is having angina and hypertension, that is patient's blood pressure increases. Then is social history, which is non-significant. In the additional information, it is given that is during dental treatment, patient suddenly felt pain in his chest. Guys, most of you must be knowing that angina is the leading cause of pain in chest. So in this history, only this thing is given, that is patient suddenly felt pain in his chest. There are lot of reasons why a patient feels pain in chest. We will talk about this later on, but let's for as of now let's focus on this question. Since in the history it is already given that patient had previous episodes of angina, so in these kind of questions the diagnosis is angina pectoris. Angina pectoris or simply angina. Always remember that the pain in the angina, it usually does not last more than 5 minutes. Moreover, since the patient has a history of angina, so this is not the first episode in the patient. The treatment for the angina, the immediate and the appropriate, is nitroglycerin. Nitroglycerin plus administer oxygen. So basically, in the treatment of angina pectoris, the immediate and appropriate treatment are same, which is administer nitroglycerin and administer oxygen. But one thing to be taken care of, if the blood pressure of the patient it drops less than 90/60, BP 90/60. If blood pressure drops from to 90/60, under 90/60, in that case we cannot give nitroglycerin. In that case we will just give oxygen and we will call 911. Let's again talk about the treatment. In angina pectoris, if blood pressure is not under 90/60, then nitroglycerin and administer oxygen is the management. But if blood pressure drops under 90/60, then we will no longer administer nitroglycerin. We will give oxygen and we will call 911. Guys, there is a slight modification in case of whether the diagnosis is angina or the diagnosis is myocardial infarction. In case if there is a previous history of angina, then the diagnosis is angina. But in case nothing is mentioned in case of medical history, that there was no previous episode of angina, in that case, if in the question during dental treatment patient suddenly felt pain in his chest, in that kind of scenario you will no longer answer it as angina. It will be called myocardial infarction. Myocardial infarction. Few symptoms of myocardial infarction are, that is there is squeezing chest pain, which can refer to jaws, left arm, shoulders. Patient may look pale. He can be having cold sweats. Patient can feel nausea, indigestion, heartburn or abdominal pain. He can have shortness of breath, or patient may be having symptoms of dysarrhythmia, like there is irregular pulse or there is irregular quality of the pulse, or there may be palpitations. So friends, in case this is the first episode in the patient, that is pain has happened for the first time, in that case the diagnosis will be myocardial infarction. Or if in this question it was mentioned that pain lasted longer than 5 minutes, in that case typically this pain is of myocardial infarction. Now let's come to the management. In this case, immediate and appropriate management are different. Immediate management. In this case, we will call 911 plus administer oxygen plus we will administer salicylic acid. Administer acetyl salicylic acid or aspirin. So guys, the treatment or the management, immediate management of myocardial infarction is call 911, administer oxygen and administer acetyl salicylic acid or aspirin. We call 911 because the patient needs immediate attention. Oxygen because myocardial infarction happens because there is inadequate supply of blood and oxygen to the heart muscles. And aspirin, it helps to reduce the damage in the heart muscles. So we administer acetyl salicylic acid. Now the appropriate management. In addition to all these three, 1, 2 and 3, next thing is either administer morphine or we administer nitrous oxide. There is one more, we will add nitroglycerin to it. So basically, in the appropriate management, in addition to call 911, administer oxygen, administer aspirin, we will add nitroglycerin and morphine or nitrous oxide. Guys, always remember whether this is the first episode or this is the second or subsequent episode, so your diagnosis will depend on it. Let's move on to another emergency. Guys, before moving forward, I would like to tell you certain conditions in which the pain that happens in angina pectoris, the similar kind of pain can also occur in cases of musculoskeletal pain, panic attack, acute indigestion, pericarditis, aortic aneurysm, hiatal hernia, esophagitis and pulmonary embolism. Guys, so in the differential diagnosis of angina pain, you should remember all these points as well, because sometimes when a patient is having acute indigestion, or if a patient is having hiatal hernia, he can also have pain similar to that of angina. So in that case, history will help you to answer the question. So always remember the other conditions that can be used in case of differential diagnosis. Now let's start with another emergency. Let's say in the medical history it was given that patient was having congestive heart failure, CHF, congestive heart failure. Social history, patient was smoker. In the additional information, it was given that while getting treatment, patient's pupils dilated, there is no pulse, absent pulse, and patient becomes unconscious. As you might have noticed that there is no pulse, patient is unconscious, pupils have dilated, patient had a history of congestive heart failure. Guys, this is a case of cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest. In case of cardiac arrest, since heart stops functioning, so there will be no pulse, respiration ceases or stops, patient will become unconscious, then there will be no heartbeat, pupils will dilate, patient may become cyanosed. All these are signs and symptoms of cardiac arrest. Now let's come to the management. The immediate management. In case of cardiac arrest, immediate management and appropriate management are different. The first step in the management of cardiac arrest patient is CPR, that is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Then, since patient is unconscious, we will do head tilt chin lift. Also, we will administer oxygen and we will call 911. So, CPR, head tilt chin lift, administer oxygen and call 911. In case of appropriate management, in addition to these four, we can administer epinephrine, plus we can also use external automated defibrillator, that is use AED. So basically, in the immediate management, except for these two, these four will come. In case of appropriate management, immediate management plus administer epinephrine plus use automated external defibrillator. Let's move on to other example. Friends, in the additional information, it is given that during treatment, patient complained of severe headache, his mouth drops to one side and his blood pressure is 180 by 110. His blood pressure now is 180 by 110, but initially it was 120 by 82. In the medical history, hypertension is there. Social history, patient is a smoker. Patient complained of severe headache. Guys, severe headache can happen in various conditions. Then his mouth drops to one side, that is patient is paralyzed and his blood pressure is raised. All these things indicate towards stroke or cerebrovascular accident. Stroke or cerebrovascular accident. In addition to these signs and symptoms, the other signs and symptoms are sudden severe headache, dizziness, unilateral weakness or numbness of extremities or of facial muscles. Then patient may feel confused. He can have trouble in speaking, understanding, walking or seeing. So in this case, the diagnosis is cerebrovascular accident. The immediate and appropriate management in case of stroke are same, which is call 911 plus administer oxygen. In the differential diagnosis of headache, we have certain conditions. For example, cerebrovascular accident or stroke. Then we have hypo and hyperglycemia. Then we have migraine, cluster headache, temporal arteritis, trigeminal neuralgia, tension type headache, hypertensive crisis, epinephrine reaction and acute sinusitis. Guys, remembering the differential diagnosis is very important because sometimes you might get confused, but if you know the differential diagnosis, it will be easy for you to come to a definite conclusion and to answer the particular question in your ACJ exam. Let's discuss another case. In this case, patient was having hypertension, he was a smoker. So because of the pain, dentist decided to extract the tooth. While extracting the tooth, dentist suddenly drops the tooth in patient's mouth and patient starts coughing. So guys, this is an example of partial airway obstruction. Partial airway obstruction. The airway obstruction can be partial or it can be complete. In case patient is coughing, patient is conscious, patient is trying to breathe, in that case it is partial airway obstruction. And in the management, immediate or appropriate, it is same. If in the option it is given encourage coughing, then you will choose this option. But in case this option is not present, then you will choose no intervention necessary. No intervention. Friends, when a patient is having partial airway obstruction, as a dentist, you should try to encourage the patient to cough forcefully so that the object which is blocking his airway, it comes out. So the immediate and appropriate management is no intervention necessary. But in case patient started coughing, in the additional information it was given, after a while patient becomes unresponsive. Or non-responsive. So guys, in this case, earlier it was partial airway obstruction, but when patient tried to cough, the tooth did not come out, but actually it blocked the airway of the patient. That led to the complete airway obstruction. So because of that, patient became unresponsive. In this case, the diagnosis is no longer partial airway obstruction, it becomes complete airway obstruction. Now let's discuss the immediate and appropriate management of complete airway obstruction. The immediate management and appropriate management in case of complete airway obstruction is different. In case of complete airway obstruction, we have to look whether the patient is conscious or he is unconscious. Before jumping on to management, I would like to tell you some signs and symptoms of complete airway obstruction. Some signs are, in the initial stages, the first sign is universal sign of choking. That is, patient keeps his hands around his neck. Second is bulging eyes. Third is, because of the absence of proper oxygenation, patient might become cyanosed. In the late signs, patient might lose his consciousness. There may be dilated pupils, absence of vital signs. There is no blood pressure, there is no heart rate, there is no pulse, there is no breathing. So in case patient is conscious, immediate management in conscious patient. The most important is abdominal thrust or Heimlich maneuver. Abdominal thrust or Heimlich maneuver, and call 911. In case the patient is a pregnant lady or a kid less than 1 year of age, or the patient is very obese, or in case the patient is on wheelchair or he is disabled, in that case, instead of giving abdominal thrust, we will give chest compressions. But always remember guys one thing, that chest compression is different from CPR. Although in CPR we definitely compress the chest, but along with that we give oxygen as well. So in case in exam you have chest compression and CPR in the options, it's better to go for chest compressions. And in this case, if in the question it's asked about appropriate management, then abdominal thrust plus call 911 plus oxygen. Basically, oxygen is not included in immediate management. The immediate management in the unconscious patient, first of all we will call 911 plus, since patient is unconscious, we will go for head tilt chin lift we will perform cardiac compressions. In case in the information it was given that patient's vital signs are absent, that is patient is not breathing at all, respiration is 0, pulse rate is 0, heart rate is 0, there is no blood pressure, in that case we will consider that there is cardiac arrest as well. So we will go for CPR, that is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. In addition to these, if you have an option of like raising or slightly raising the legs of the patient in the supine position, we will go for that as well. In addition to these four, in the appropriate management, we will add oxygen as well. So in the immediate management of the unconscious patient, we will go for call 911, head tilt chin lift, cardiac compressions. And if there is absence of vital signs, absent vitals, only then we will go for CPR, and in the appropriate management we will go for oxygen. Friends, let's focus on to another case. In this case, in the additional information it is given, patient was feeling pain during extraction, so the dentist decided to inject him fourth carpule of local anesthesia. This means he was already given 3 carpules of local anesthesia, but he was still feeling pain, so dentist decided to give him the fourth injection. After having injection, patient became restless and he started having convulsions. Now we have to find out the diagnosis first of this emergency. Guys, in medical history it is not significant, nothing. In social history, nothing significant. Patient was having fourth injection, fourth carpule. Patient started having convulsions and patient was restless. Convulsions, these can happen in certain conditions, but the main two are seizures and local anesthetic toxicity. That is when there is overdose of local anesthesia. Now we have to choose whether this is seizure or this is local anesthetic toxicity. Convulsions happen in both of them, in seizures and in local anesthetic toxicity. But to come to the conclusion or to the diagnosis, if we again read this additional information, we will get to know that patient got fourth carpule of local anesthesia. So this indicates that patient might be having more quantity of local anesthesia than his body could handle. So this can be a case of local anesthetic toxicity. Let's look at other symptom, which is restless. Guys, in case of local anesthetic toxicity, the signs and symptoms happen in two phases. In the initial phase, there is an episode of excitement, and in the late phase, there is the episode of depression. In the initial phase, patient may feel restless, he may become talkative, or the patient may feel convulsions, he may be having increase in blood pressure. The initial episode of stimulation is followed by the episode or phase of depression. In that phase, patient may be having convulsions followed by depression. His blood pressure may drop. Patient may feel apnea. he may become unconscious and death can follow. In that case, we have to look for the initial and late signs and symptoms of the patient. Sometimes we are not given all the signs and symptoms. We are just given like in this case, restless and convulsions. So in this case, our treatment or our diagnosis was local anesthetic toxicity, LA toxicity. Now let's discuss its management. The immediate and appropriate management are, immediate and appropriate is administer oxygen. Guys, if a patient has status epilepticus, that is in case of local anesthetic toxicity, the convulsions are followed by seizures and seizures last longer and they qualify for status epilepticus. In that case, we can also call 911 and we can administer anticonvulsants. But for rest of the cases, administer oxygen is the main answer. Let's say the patient becomes unconscious. In that case, we will add head tilt, chin lift as well. But for most of the cases, the answer is administer oxygen. Now we will discuss a modification of this question. Let's say in this case, in the same case, after giving first carpule, patient felt hallucinations, and started having convulsions. Basically, since patient was given only first carpule, there are more chances that this is not local anesthetic toxicity. Then there is hallucination. Hallucination is a main sign and symptom of seizure, and patient was having convulsions, which is also another sign and symptom. The other sign and symptoms are patient may be having increased salivation or increased talism, then hallucinations, convulsions, tremors. This is a typical case of seizure. The immediate and appropriate management of seizure is different. Let's discuss it. In the immediate management, no intervention necessary. But if in the options it is given that protect the patient from nearby objects, then we will choose that option, that is protect patient from nearby objects. Protect patient from nearby objects, because during convulsions or tremors, patient can hurt himself. So in that case, we need to protect the patient. In case if this option is not present, then we will go for no intervention necessary. In the appropriate management, we will go for administer oxygen plus protect patient from the nearby objects, plus we will place the patient in supine position. Supine position. So the immediate management is no intervention necessary, or if protect the patient from nearby objects is given in option, we will go for this one rather than no intervention. In the appropriate management, we will go for administer oxygen plus protect patient from nearby objects plus supine position. Let's discuss status epilepticus. Guys, status epilepticus is a condition when the episode of seizures, it lasts more than 1 minute. More than 1 minute. In that case, in the immediate management, we will call 911 plus we will protect the patient from nearby objects. Protect patient. In the appropriate management, we will call 911, plus we will protect the patient, plus we will administer benzodiazepine or diazepam, plus we will administer oxygen. So in the immediate management, we will call 911 and we will protect the patient. In the appropriate management, we will call 911, we will protect the patient, we will administer diazepam or benzodiazepine, and we will administer oxygen. Guys, always remember whether you are asked immediate management or you are asked appropriate management in a given question, because if in the exam the examiner asks only immediate management and you choose any option from the appropriate management, your question will become wrong. So always carefully read the question before answering it. If you have noticed that the difference between local anesthetic toxicity and seizures was very less, the only difference was the dose of the local anesthesia did not qualify enough for us to say that patient was having overdose of local anesthesia. But in case the injection was given second, third or fourth time, or maybe after second time, that is third or fourth injection or fifth injection, then you should go for local anesthetic toxicity if other symptoms they suggest that option. But in case if nothing is given, there is no previous history and patient just had first injection or maybe second injection, and patient was having convulsions or tremors, in that case go for seizures. In case you might consider it difficult whether you should go think about local anesthetic toxicity after second injection or third injection or fourth injection. So guys, just remember the weight of the patient and try to calculate the dose of the local anesthesia. In case you get to know that the local anesthetic dose was high according to the weight of the patient, then you should go for local anesthetic toxicity. Otherwise, if the signs and symptoms they suggest that it is a clear episode of seizure, go for seizure. In case it is status epilepticus, then go for the immediate and appropriate management of status epilepticus.